We're going to start this video with the mindset that you've never opened up MATLAB before. And so it's our hope that when you open up your software, that the interface looks similar to what you see in front of you, where you have 3 folders that are set up and that are most likely empty. If they don't look like it on this layout, you can go into Layout under the Homes tab and change it around to the preference that you like. If they are not set up in this way, you can just realize that things are in a different orientation within your interface. You'll notice right off the bat that mine does look a little different in that my current folder window has a lot more stuff in it than yours. And the reason that is that when MATLAB was installed on your computer, it developed a folder most likely in your C drive, where it allows the program to store different files or scripts or codes there to be referenced later on. And that's just a place that's a default for it to start. It can change later on as you work with the program if you so desire. The second window is the command window, and that's the area that we can make MATLAB do stuff. And so, for example, I'm going to set A equal to 5, and I'm going to set B equal to 7. And you'll notice very quickly that this little semicolon did something for me. When I set A equal to 5, MATLAB came back and responded that A equals 5. In other words, I got this. Whereas when I add the semicolon, I finished off the statement saying, I know you have that, and we're in good shape. You'll also notice very quickly that over here in the workspace, I have my A equaling 5 and my B equaling 7. And what that's going to allow us to do is I can then sit there and set C equal to the product of A times B. And what happens then is MATLAB's going to go find A, realize it's 5, find B, realize it's 7, multiply those two together, and come back and set C to be 35. I can do the same thing for D, where if I want to set D equal to A minus B, I can do so. Oh, except I have a problem here. My problem right off the bat is that MATLAB is case sensitive. And so when I capitalize my A here, it said, I don't know what that is. And so I have to go back. It's going to say, hey, we have this potential error, right? You can look for it. And it's also in this situation giving me a proposed solution for it, which is very nice. And so now when I have this, I have D equaling -2. Notice there's no problem using the capital. It's just, I can only assign it one way or the other. Now, this can get a little labor intensive if I want to continually add a value and a value and a value up until I have tons of them. And so what would be much easier to work with is something called a script, or what you would think typically to be more of a code. And in this situation, I can store all my values within this script right here. And then when I open it up, they'll already be there for me, or the different actions that I want it to have. Before we get working with it, I want you to go into View here, and I want you to select Shrink Tabs to Fit, Alphabetize, and Highlight Current Line. And what that's going to do is it's just going to make the program interface a little easier to work with. You might change that later on, but as for right now, I think it'll make things easier for you. Instead of developing a new script, I'm going to open one up that I already have developed. And what I've done is I've just typed these in. And what you see at the top is you see a bunch of green letters. And those green letters are something called a comment. And what's going on is that a comment is invisible to the code. And so the code doesn't really see it at all. And this is for me to be able to read so I know what's going on. And so I see here that I have a % sign and a bracket, and then a % sign and a bracket, and this little itty bitty gray line here indicates that everything between that's going to be a comment. And so I can see my author, I can see that I have a purpose for it, and I can also see down here that I had an initial value for guess that I changed later on. So when I start reading this, I can see that I have a value called guess. I'm setting equal to an input. And what's going to happen with this input is it's going to send out this string, these purple letters, into my command window, and then I will type a number that will come back in. These letters could mean anything, right? As long as it's between these two apostrophes, they'll come out and retrieve whatever number I send back. And then I'm going to have a variable here, which is going to be bun packs. So how many packs of buns do I need to order for my guests? And let's say that 2/3 of them ate hot dogs, and there's 8 buns in a pack. So 2/3 of the people for packs of 8. And then I have my hot dog packs, which is going to be the number of guests times 2/3. And there's 10 hot dog packs within that. So I'm going to go through, I'm going to run my code. So go to Editor, Run. And it sent me out this purple area, even that little space on the end, asking for a number. So I'm going to type in 60. And I push Enter. You'll notice that nothing sort of came down the command window, but everything was stored over here in the workspace. And so I can see that I would need 5 packs of buns and 4 packs of hot dogs to make that work. But in this situation, I only have 2/3 of my people or my friends eating in there. So I'm going to add a pizza order to this. And I'm going to set it equal to my number of guests times 1/3 of my population. And I realize I don't need those brackets mathematically. It just sort of organizes a little bit. And we're going to say that one pizza works for 4 people. Right? And so now when I run this, more people found out that I'm ordering free pizza, and so more people are deciding to come. And so I can see over here that I've got my pizzas. I'm going to need 6 of those. I'm going to have my 5 packs. I'm going to have to round that up. My of hot dogs, my 7 packs of buns. Right? But it's all getting crowded over there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear it out. And it's even getting crowded down in my command window. So I'm going to do CLC to clear that out. And so that emptied everything out. And so now I can run my code again. So again, it went into guess, asked for an input, sent out this string. And since I'm doing so much more, I'm going to have 120 people come. It went through all my code, and it added up all those different values, which is really nice for me. And so now I don't have to do as much. And I can even sit there and just sort of, when I'm down in my command window, push up, find my example cookout, push enter, and realize that even more people are coming. And so I don't have to think. I can just sort of just adjust that number as I move forward, which is going to make it very convenient for me moving on. So that's the basics of the working with the program. The last thing I'd probably want to do here is to be able to save this code for me. And so I go up here and save it. And I'm going to make sure that I mentioned to you that you have to be able to save things differently within MATLAB. And so it's not going to accept different characters. And it's also not going to allow you to start with a number. So I can't put 1 cookout, right? Or I can't put spaces also. And so typically I'll put like my last name and then cookout. And that way if I send it anywhere, my last name's in there so they know I developed it right off the bat. And so good luck with that. I hope that you can sort of play with the program a little bit and understand how the interface works.